For years, I believed that if I just got the next degree, the next achievement, the next yes, then I would finally feel confident. But every time I reached a new goal, the finish line just moved further away, leaving me feeling like a fraud who was running a race with no end. If that race sounds familiar, you're in the right place. That feeling, the one that whispers you're a fake right after a success, the one that makes you terrified of being found out, is often called imposter syndrome, and it's exhausting. It turns life into a constant performance, a desperate attempt to prove you belong in a room you're already standing in. But what if the solution isn't to run the race harder? What if it isn't about getting one more win to finally feel worthy? In this video, we're going to go deeper than the usual fake it till you make it advice. We're going to synthesize powerful insights from the fields of psychology and human development to uncover a more fundamental truth about confidence. So, why does it feel like a race you can't win? Why does every achievement, instead of bringing lasting peace, just feel like it raises the stakes? It's because most of us don't realize we're trapped inside a hidden game with a set of impossible rules. Let's call it the imposter loop. And like any good trap, it's designed so that the harder you struggle, the tighter it holds you. The loop has two key parts. The first part is its fuel, the engine, and that engine is shame. Now, this isn't guilt, which is the feeling that I did something bad. Shame is deeper. It's the intensely painful gut-level belief that I am bad. It's the secret fear that you are fundamentally flawed, and if people ever saw the real you, you would be rejected, cast out, and proven unworthy of belonging. This feeling, this quiet dread of being exposed, is the fuel that powers the entire system. Because we have this deep-seated fear, our logical brain does something very clever. It builds a defense mechanism, a shield, and that shield is perfectionism. The shield has one simple, desperate rule. If I live perfectly, look perfectly, and act perfectly, then no one will ever see the flawed person hiding behind this armor. This isn't healthy striving, which is about you getting better for yourself. This is a life or death performance for an imaginary audience. It's the hustle for worthiness. It's people-pleasing, it's over-preparing, it's obsessing over every detail. It's carrying a 20-ton shield everywhere you go, hoping no one notices how scared you are underneath it. It's exhausting. And here's the trap. Here is how the loop closes. When you succeed while carrying the shield, when you get the promotion or the perfect grade, you don't feel genuine confidence. You feel relief. Whew, you think, I fooled them again. But your success just reinforces the belief that the shield is what works, that the performance is what's valuable, not you. The stakes get higher. Now I really can't mess up. And when you fail, when you make a mistake, get criticized, or fall short, the shield cracks. And all of that shame you were trying to hide comes flooding in. The loop short circuits, and a voice screams in your head, I knew it. This is proof. I am a fraud. This sends you scrambling to repair the shield, to make it even thicker, more perfect, more bulletproof for next time. And that's the loop, a vicious cycle where success feels like a temporary escape and failure feels like a confirmation of your deepest fear. This is why achieving more doesn't fix the problem. You're not trying to win, you're just trying not to lose a game that is fundamentally, completely rigged against you. So, how do you stop playing a game that's designed for you to lose? You have to change the one rule that governs everything. So, how do you stop playing a game that's designed for you to lose? You don't play it smarter, you don't run faster, you quit. Now, quitting doesn't mean giving up on your goals or your life. It means giving up on the game, the unwinnable game of, am I good enough? And you do this by making one foundational, radical decision that changes everything that comes after. It's the decision to embrace your inherent worthiness. This is the moment you stop trying to earn your worth and you start from a place of claiming it. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to operate from a new core belief. I am enough, right now, as is. Not if I get the promotion, not when I prove them wrong, right now. This single idea separates your value as a human being from your performance, your achievements, or what anyone else thinks about you. It's the new rulebook for your life. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but it feels impossible. It feels like a cheap affirmation trying to fight a lifetime of evidence to the contrary. And you're right, it is hard. This isn't about just repeating a phrase until you magically believe it. This is the single most courageous act on this entire journey because it means willingly letting go of the cold, heavy weight of that perfectionist shield and choosing to stand on your own 2 feet. Vulnerable, yes, but for the first time, whole. It's the moment you realize the only person you ever needed permission from was you. Making this choice is the foundation. It's the solid ground on which you can finally build a real life. But a foundation is useless without a structure. So now, let's build the 3 pillars that will hold up your new, unshakable confidence. For years, maybe your whole life, there has been a civil war raging inside your head, and the enemy is you. It's that relentless inner critic, the voice that replays your mistakes on a loop, magnifies every flaw, and compares you to everyone else, always finding you lacking. It's the voice that whispers, "You're not good enough," and a moment later shouts, "Who do you think you are?" Sound familiar? That war is the single greatest drain on your energy. The first pillar of unshakable confidence is about declaring a ceasefire. It's about learning to be your own teammate, not your own worst enemy. This is the practice of radical self-acceptance and compassion. It starts with self-acceptance, which is simply the choice to be on your own side. It is an active refusal to have an adversarial relationship with yourself. It means looking at your entire story, your strengths, yes, but also your fears, your awkward moments, your messy history, the parts of you that you've tried to hide or fix for years, and instead of turning away in shame, you finally say, "You belong here too." This isn't about pretending you love your flaws. It's about stopping the fight. It's the deep understanding that you cannot build a future you love on a foundation of hating who you are right now. Self-acceptance is the peace treaty. Self-compassion is your medic on the battlefield of life. It's what you do in the moment you fail. Imagine you make a mistake at work, a dumb mistake. The old script, the inner critic, immediately goes on the attack. "You're an idiot. How could you miss that? Now everyone knows you're incompetent." Self-compassion throws out that script and asks one simple, powerful question. What would I say to a good friend right now? Think about it. You would never look at a friend who made that mistake and call them an idiot. You'd say, "Hey, it happens. It's just a mistake, not a catastrophe. Don't be so hard on yourself. Let's figure out how to fix it." Self-compassion is turning that same voice inward. Now, this isn't weakness. It is not about letting yourself off the hook or making excuses. It is the fastest, most effective way to neutralize shame, learn from your mistake, and get back in the game with your dignity intact. It is strength, refined into kindness. When you stop using all your energy fighting yourself, you free up that energy to finally live your life. You can take risks because you know that if you fall, you will have a friend there to help you back up, and that friend is you. And when you stop fighting yourself, you can finally begin to express yourself. And that leads us directly to our next pillar. Once the civil war inside you ends, a quiet space opens up. But with that peace comes a new question. Now what? This is where we take that internal peace treaty from Pillar 1 and make it real in the outside world. This is where we learn to own our life and have the courage to actually live it. This is the second pillar, the practice of authenticity and self-responsibility. And it starts with shattering a fantasy many of us secretly hold. It's the fantasy of the rescuer, the hope that someone, a boss, a mentor, a partner, a friend, will come along, see our hidden potential, solve our problems, and finally give us permission to be happy and successful. We wait for someone else to validate us. We wait for someone else to tell us we're ready. But there's a powerful, liberating, and slightly terrifying truth you have to face to build real confidence. No one is coming. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to give you your life. This isn't a tragedy. It is your ultimate emancipation. This is the practice of self-responsibility. It's the moment you realize that you are the single greatest agent of change in your own life. You move from the passenger seat hoping for a good driver into the driver's seat with your own hands on the wheel. This act of taking the driver's seat naturally leads to the second half of this pillar, authenticity. For so long, many of us have survived by fitting in. We become social chameleons, changing our colors to match whatever environment we're in, all to be liked, to be safe, to avoid rejection. But fitting in is just another shield. It's a performance that leaves you feeling anxious and disconnected because you know the person they like isn't really you. Authenticity is the courageous choice to stop fitting in and start practicing true belonging. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. It's showing up with your real thoughts, your real personality, your real imperfections, and seeing who stays. It feels risky, because it is. You are trading the possibility of rejection for the certainty of self-respect. But it is the only way to build real, honest connections with others, and most importantly, with yourself. So self-responsibility is taking the wheel of your own life. Authenticity is choosing to drive it as yourself, not as someone you think others want you to be. But what happens when you're driving, being your authentic self, and that old voice pipes up from the backseat whispering, "This is all great, but you still don't have the skills to back it up. You're still a fraud." That's where our final, crucial pillar comes in. So you're in the driver's seat, you're being your authentic self, you've ended the inner war, but then you hit the final boss, the last line of defense for the imposter mindset. It's that nagging voice from the back seat, the one that whispers, "This is all great, but you still don't have the skills. You're just a well-meaning fraud. You can't actually back it up." This final pillar is designed to directly attack that fear. We silence this voice not with more affirmations, but with cold, hard evidence. This is the practice of purposeful action and competence. Think of yourself as a detective building a case against your own inner critic. That critic is the prosecutor, armed with years of self-doubt. Your job is to build an evidence folder so thick, so undeniable, that the prosecutor has no choice but to rest their case. You build this case with two tools. First, you need the blueprint for your investigation. This is purposeful action. The imposter thrives on vague wishes like, "I hope I get better." Purposeful action cuts through that fog. You translate your hopes into concrete, actionable, trackable goals. You're not just wishing anymore. You are creating a specific plan you can execute. This blueprint becomes the first page in your evidence folder. Now, for the second tool, the actual construction. This is where you build competence by gathering evidence. Every time you follow your plan, you document it. You finished your 25 minutes? That's a piece of evidence. You read the chapter? Evidence. You faced the fear and asked for feedback? That is a huge piece of evidence. And here is the most important part. The evidence you are collecting is not, "I was perfect," or "I succeeded." The evidence is, "I showed up, I did the work, I was courageous." Why? Because an imposter can always dismiss an achievement. "Oh, I got lucky, it wasn't that hard." But it is much harder to deny the reality of the effort you put in. And slowly, day by day, that folder gets thicker, and the voice of that inner critic, that prosecutor, gets quieter. It has to, because you have proof, you have receipts, you have an irrefutable case file that proves you are not a fraud. You are a learner, you are a doer, you are a builder. This process forges the final piece of unshakable confidence, self-efficacy. It's the quiet, solid trust in your own ability to think, to learn, to cope, and to figure things out. It's not the arrogant belief that you know everything, but the deep-seated confidence that you can learn anything. It is the final pillar that makes the entire structure stand strong against any storm. Unshakable confidence, you see, is not the absence of fear or doubt. It will never be a life free from mistakes. It is the courageous, daily practice of showing up as your authentic, imperfect, and entirely worthy self. It is the freedom that comes from finally stepping off that exhausting treadmill of proving and starting the meaningful journey of becoming. So, where do you begin this journey? Not with a grand leap, but with a single, quiet step. Tonight, when that old inner critic begins its familiar attack, I want you to pause. And in that pause, practice Pillar 1. Ask yourself this one question. What would I say to a dear friend if they were feeling this way? And then find the courage to offer that same kindness to yourself. That is the first step, and it is everything. The race for approval is over. Your real journey, the one where you get to simply be you, has just begun. If this video resonated with you and you want more insights on building a more authentic and confident life, please hit that like button. It truly helps the channel. And be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss what's next.